Okay, I don't know where Mancheese is. I said I would wait for a couple of hours, but some of our European friends, um, there is an error loading your app. This app does not load because there appears to be something wrong with it. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that, but sorry. Anyway, hello everybody. Let me get to the page where this is streaming on. So just give me a moment here while I set everything up. I just sort of did this haphazardly. So just give me a moment. I wish I had some hold music to put on. It's just too much going on. Let's see here. That's my hold music, me humming to myself. All right, we have some people in the top chat. Hi, Malcat. Hi, Leah. Hey, Maria. Oh, here's the link to join. So please join. Yeah, I was watching her latest video about, I guess I didn't finish it because I've been I've been refreshing that Mancheese channel, to see what's going on. Oh, I'm sorry you couldn't sleep last night. If someone wants to join, this is the hangout link. That should work. And I can't put it on my other channel while I'm logged into this channel. So if someone wants to put that link on my other channel, feel free. Yeah, I love that she actually interacted face to face with some women. And I think that sort of stuff is so amazing that if you can do that, um, if you can stir up the consciousness of some of these women that I believe secretly some of them agree with us and they're just too afraid to speak out. And if they see someone else speaking out, it will make them feel like maybe, oh, wow, I'm not alone in thinking this stuff. So it's really cool that she uh, did that. And I don't know. I know she's a divisive character, but honestly, we need people like that in this movement. So I loved that. I am really thoroughly unprepared for this. I don't have show notes. I I don't have really anything going on. I'm just moving all of my stuff into boxes and trying to sell a bunch of stuff, and it's really annoying trying to sell stuff because people are just flaky, and you think you get someone to sell stuff and they just flake out, or they ask you if you can reduce the price even more and you're just like, anyway, so that's just some personal stuff. um let's see, what are some tabs I have open? Oh, a really fun story that I really enjoyed is this Feminist Current article: South Korea's Take Off the Corset movement should inspire feminists everywhere towards radical action. Young women in South Korea, calling themselves beauty resistors, are fighting back against the powerful, incredibly profitable beauty and cosmetic surgery industries. And this is like a huge thing in South Korea. Hey, Roberta. Um, in South Korea, when I visited there, I was astounded. I was appalled by how many posters there were, advertisements for plastic surgery just everywhere. I thought that I saw them enough in the United States. They don't seem to be as prevalent in Japan. I think women, patriarchy works in lots of different ways. In Japan, I think it's more common for women to be modest about their beauty. So plastic surgery, I think it's done here, but people don't talk about it. I mean, that's Japan's sort of deal. Like if they do something, they just generally keep it to themselves. They're very into their boundaries and their privacy, which I respect actually. So I thought that was a cool article. What else do I have open here? I have pelvic mesh victims disgusted at suggestion of anal sex as solution. And we all know how I feel about anal sex. I think that it is not comfortable and it's unsafe. And it puts women in unsafe situations. So, and that's just shameful. That doctors would say to women, "Oh, I'm sorry I effed up your stuff with this terrible um, mesh. Can someone explain this to me? I don't even understand what these things are for." Australian victims of faulty pelvic mesh implants have exposed disgust at doctors' suggestions of anal intercourse as a solution to their ruined sex lives. A disturbing email exchange between doctors emerged earlier this month as part of a federal court class action in Australia, which was launched by hundreds of women who had the devices implanted to treat common childbirth complications. The devices manufactured by pharmaceutical giant Johnson & Johnson cause chronic and debilitating pain, including during intercourse. The emails reflected a callous attitude towards women among French gynecologists involved with the company. In the emails, doctors talked about alternatives for sex for women suffering painful intercourse. It is no less true, in quotes, it is no less true that sodomy could be a good alternative, one doctor wrote. Another discussed the difficulty of raising sexual matters with his patients. Yeah, I mean, I could read the rest, but to me, this just points out the never ending. Yeah, post it on Gender Hammer. Share this link. Here's the link again. Um, um, yeah, this just proves to me that the overall medical community, they don't care about women. And I think a lot of these procedures were probably done. I don't know, someone with more information, maybe if they could come on and tell me more about it. After childbirth, it sounds to me like it was
I don't know,
probably
more information.
Oh,
Maybe. Oh, hello.
hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
but I'm echoing.
Sorry, is still?
No. Perfect.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Yeah, fine. I actually met an Aussie red film in real life today.
Oh, that's cool.
Cyber set it up. It's Izzy. She's touring Europe right now, and she's going to Belgrade to meet Cyber next.
That's great. I can't make it to Europe right now. I'd love to go back someday.
You have been already?
Yeah, I was there like 10 years ago. So I was in Germany and I was in Holland and France, and I did a little backpacking tour. Anyway, do you know anything about these vaginal mesh implants? Or do you have any news you'd like to share?
The mesh implants, I read about that somewhere. I think in Feminist Current or at Mansnight, I'm not sure where.
Yeah, there are
But
lots
yeah,
of articles.
I think the Gloss Witch wrote about it too, if you know her.
Yeah, I do. I don't read as much as blogs as I should.
Yeah, me too, not anymore. Right now, I don't work for health reasons, but when I did, I always read when I was on the train going to work and back. So I always used that half an hour to read up on lots of feminist stuff, and now I kind of don't do that as much anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, I read I'll like scan I'll scan Gender Critical, and I'll scan um Feminist Current sometimes. And actually another thing that I thought was interesting that happened recently was, well, not even interesting, but tragic really, was the I don't have that link open. See, if I had known I was going to have to do this, I would have all my all my links open. But there was a man in a prison in the UK who raped and assaulted some women.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's on Gender Hammer in very good detail because we can talk freely there. I can search it, but I'm shit at multitasking, which means I'm going to be quiet for a bit.
no, I'll look it up. Hold on. I
Okay.
it should be in my history. Um, like I'm just so unprepared for this. I usually just come in and talk and respond. I don't have like, unless I have an actual topic that I want to discuss, I don't, I'm when Manchis does her stuff, she has her whole list of news items that she wants to talk about or go over. Let me see. Ugh, where would I find? No, my history is too extensive. Mm, I would have like a bunch of tabs open if I had known that I would have to do this. I guess I didn't have to. I just miss everybody and I wanted to talk to some people.
Yeah.
And I hope that Manchis is okay.
Yeah, me too. I'm kind of worried. I hope she just is chaotic and it's not something else.
Yeah, The Spectator. Why was a transgender rapist put in women's prison? Let me click on that just so we can get some more details. By the way, oh, Mike Turner has a lot to say. By the way, I did know about Rothblatt and his weird mate robot reconstruction. I just didn't remember the name. Thanks for the tip, though. I was wondering earlier today, do you think all the, it doesn't say, I guess maybe there's a text limit on the stuff. Okay, so from The Spectator, from James Kirkup, who has actually been writing a lot about these issues. And, he's one of these people that is brave enough to talk about this stuff in the UK. If you were deciding where to house a convicted sex offender accused of repeatedly raping a woman, where's the last place on earth you would put that person? This person's name is Karen White. In 2016, Karen White used that penis to, sorry, the word penis is funny to me. Used that penis to commit rape again twice. As a result, Karen White was last year remanded in prison awaiting trial for rape. It wasn't Karen White's first time behind bars. In 2001, Karen White was jailed for 18 months for an act of gross indecency with a child. So not only is a rapist, but a pedophile as well. So the UK, put this man in a jail or a prison with women, which is just like totally.
He's a one-time pedophile, and it was his second conviction for rape of an
Yeah.
adult woman. Also, on top of that.
Yeah. And the UK sentencing seems like pretty minimal. I don't know a lot about that, but it seems like they don't get a lot of um years for doing certain things. I mean, there was that other story this week about the drag queen who was also a pedophile and got 3 years for like the initial offense, but now has been featured in some uh, I think it's British Airways sort of advertising campaign where he's, in all of these pictures on Brighton Beach. Um, so I don't know. It just seems like why, and it leads back to this whole like Amy Chandler thing. Like, what are
Yeah.
the people in the UK like? They're not like performing any sort of criminal checks on these people. Like, I mean, I guess with the advertising campaign,
Yeah,
that's
that's
like,
really weird. Itch of Reason, Lisa Muggeridge. I probably butchered her last name, but I guess most know who she is. She has a YouTube channel named
yeah,
Itch of Reason, and she's a British social worker. And she said that there is a law in Britain. that if somebody is investigated even for some pedophilia related stuff, everybody who has anything to do with him or his place of work or living will be informed. And the Green Party had their local headquarters at this pedophile's house while he was under police investigation for pedophilia. So it's practically impossible that they haven't informed by the police that they're investigating for pedophilia.
Mm.
And Lisa said that's the law in Britain.
And
So
the
they
Green...
must have known. They had their headquarters at a pedophile's house. Not
Wow.
the national headquarters, but the local ones.
Yeah, I just don't understand how that could have happened.
I mean,
It
they
just
didn't even
blows
need
my
to do
mind.
background checking. The police would have written them a letter.
Mm.
It's
And then
really amazing in a fucked up way.
there was that other story too about I wish I had all my tabs open.
Oh,
There
S
was a...
Valley is.
Huh?
S Valley just came in.
Hey, S Valley.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. Just like thoroughly unprepared for this.
Yeah,
chat.
fair enough. Yeah, I understand that because you would have been expecting Manchis, and yeah, I'm with you on that. I wonder what's going on because normally she would say, you know, sorry, something's come up and I can't do that now, but I'll reschedule for.
Yeah, I'm looking at her channel. I just refreshed the page and, you know, it's nothing. So,
Yeah, highly unusual.
yeah, I hope maybe something happened to the channel. I don't know. Maybe she got a strike. But you'd think she would tell us if that happened. So,
Yeah, on the other channel. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know what's up. But I was just about to talk about the person who was speaking out against Kathleen Stock and other feminists. The person that made this, it was a transgender person, a man, apparently writes with two pseudonyms, like his lady name and his real name.
I heard about this and signed a paper saying that it was a joint venture and it was actually just him twice over.
Yeah. Can you remember who that is? Do you know the person's name?
No, I just saw it on Facebook, did a quick read, and then went, of course.
Yeah. I want to look up this person's name really quickly. But S Valley, tell us about what's... Oh, here it is. If I just open Twitter, it's right there. Oh, no. This is the pedophile in the female jail. Sorry. That's a different terrible story out of the UK.
Right.
Anything going on in Australia that you didn't mention in your very comprehensive chat the other night?
Oh, well, you raised the vaginal mesh stuff, and you know, it's happening in Australia with doctors saying, you know, what about just having anal sex instead? And I just wanted to say that you know, I've had to deal with medical misogyny with fibroids, where I've asked them, you know, if you go with this surgery or that surgery, how does it affect sexual function? And they constantly bring it back to reproductive capacity. And, you know, I had gynecologists being embarrassed to talk about sexual function in regards to different types of surgeries for fibroids, looking down at the floor, you know, changing the topic back to babies. And I actually ended up having to say to them, you know, most women have sex for pleasure 1,000-fold more than they have sex for babies. This actually matters.
Yeah. That's terrible. Like, what... I mean, that should be part of their degree. I mean, in my opinion, you know, they should be learning about, you know, they should be able to talk to their patients about like what this might do. And I'm sure if it was a guy, they'd probably be like, these are all the complications of a vasectomy, for example, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
These are all the things that could happen. It's like these dudes,
Yeah.
like, they only know a little bit about the anatomy of women, but they don't know
Yeah.
anything else or
Yeah,
care.
and they look at our genitalia and organs in terms of reproductive organs, not as sexual organs, and they're both. And so, you know, hearing that these guys say, oh, well, you know, these childbirth complications that got the vaginal mesh, well, these women have had children, so it doesn't matter. They can just use a different hole, basically. It doesn't surprise me coming out of Australia at all. They don't actually respond to any form of discussion about female sexual pleasure. So it doesn't even enter their minds that this may be of importance.
Right. Well, because they're men too. So there's
Oh, look, even women gynecologists.
even women gynecologists, yeah.
Yeah. It took me 2 years to find somebody who would do the right kind of surgery that I wanted and would talk to me about that. And this is having, you know, specialist after specialist after specialist and getting charged, you know, $250 to $350 for a 15-minute.
Wow.
And 2 years of hunting to find somebody. And I finally did. But yeah, that's the state of things. So it's not just the male gynecologists, it's the entire medical training
Industry, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So what
Was it-
is vaginal mesh? Do you know, like, what is vaginal mesh for? Like, why would people? Because when I look at it, it just looks like something you shouldn't put in your body. Like, I don't understand what it is, and I haven't done any research on it. So what is it usually all about? Like, why would someone have that surgery performed? Why would it be recommended? Do you know?
I'm not 100% certain on all of that, but I agree with
Okay.
you. It's like something that shouldn't go in the body. But I think it might be something to do with prolapse after giving birth. I'm not 100% certain on that, though.
So if that is the case, that's basically just, well, first, I guess it helps if you have to go to the bathroom, right? It helps you control that part, but also it sounds like it's to make you more effable again. Does that make sense?
Possibly. Possibly that's what it's for. I don't know. I'd have to do a bit more reading on it. But yeah, I'm glad that women are doing a class action suit because, you know, this is just another one of those, let's just trial it out, see how it works and, you know, bugger the consequences.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, I feel like, I mean, the medical, I mean, I just to be very like upfront, like I have a phobia sort of like hospitals and doctors and stuff like that anyway. And just the more I hear about how women are treated in these, I mean, we have a huge issue in the United States with like non-consensual procedures being done while women are giving birth. It's like another really big thing that like I didn't even know about, but and it wouldn't really even directly affect me, but I still care about it, and it makes me so upset when I hear that, like, you know, certain women who have even said no to their doctor, the procedure just gets done anyway, and it's like
Yeah, things like
totally
the
sickening.
episiotomy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So back to like this other. I don't have a topic. Does anyone have anything they want to talk about or anything
Yeah,
that they were?
there's something new with Linda Bellows. For those who don't know her, she is a black lesbian working class woman who is a decade-long labor activist in the UK. And she is also gender critical like we are. And she did this one talk where she said if she was attacked by trans activists, she will not turn the other cheek. She will defend herself physically. And
Oh
she knows
yeah,
how.
I remember that. Yeah,
And
I've
when
seen the speech.
they did a weird cut of that video where they made it sound like she was threatening to attack trans women first.
Right.
And they went to the police with that and tried to get her convicted for hate speech. But the police looked into it, got the full context, and dismissed it as bullshit. the next thing, one of the trans activists is suing her personally, just a personal lawsuit, which everybody obviously can do in the UK. And that is going to be on the 26th of September. And now there's a third development where I will look it up on Mumsnet. She has been disinvited from a black workers group in the UK where she was supposed to be a speaker.
Yeah, she's been one of the most outspoken political activists in the UK for many, many years now, about both women's issues and Black issues. So it's just sickening. Like if the left, can throw Linda Bellows under the bus, like just think about anyone else. We're all vulnerable to this. So did you watch that Parker Posey video? I wish I could message her directly and be like, "Hey, are you still awake? I know it's not that late in England right now. It's like in the
1
after.
o'clock at night on England.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning
Yeah,
in
1
England.
o'clock after midnight. 1 hour after midnight.
Oh, okay. I thought I must have misread the time then. Never mind.
It's,
I thought it
2
was
o'clock.
12 p.m. or something.
I posted it on her latest video, and I have watched the full video also. I really liked it.
Yeah, what did you think?
Yeah, I really like Posey. She might not be a textbook radical feminist, but I really like her. I like loud-mouthed, outspoken women. And I hate this whole purity culture thing, which is put on feminist women by men, where we have to be also perfect and never make one unkind or politically incorrect statement, or we will be thrown to the wolves. I really have a huge issue with that.
I think it's really. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Just a short statement. I think she was really partly treated unfairly. I mean, she was definitely treated unfairly by a woman's place when she was thrown under the bus, and I also think she didn't get enough solidarity from other feminist women.
Yeah, I think what she's doing though is like kind of really subversive, because in that video she mentions like she's totally gender conforming, right? She wears all the makeup, she paints her nails, she looks very feminine. And I think that's even more subversive when she was describing like how they were trying to get her to talk about the pronouns. She's like, that but just look at me. And by their own standard and definition, isn't that what makes a female anyway? Nail polish and eyeshadow. So it's really, I think it's really interesting that, she will go into a space like that and sort of shake things up and make people like really think about, their definitions of things. And also mentioning purity, I think, we could talk about makeup if you guys want to talk about makeup. And
yeah, we can.
because it goes both ways, right? Like, we have feminists, like radical feminists, who are very adamant in espousing the view that you should abandon all makeup and this kind of thing. But I think it's kind of reductive, and I'm not even sure that that's I understand and I don't wear makeup myself, and I understand the theory behind it. Like if you wear makeup, it basically oppresses all women. But I don't know. I think there's a certain purity to that I can't jive with. What do you guys think?
Well, for me, I'm totally against purity politics, because I look at it and I go, okay, we all come from different backgrounds. We've all had different experiences, and that means that we all have different hang-ups as well. And, like when it comes to makeup and heels and dresses and skirts, I wear all of that stuff. I actually do. So, and I know why I do it. And it's not that I've avoided the topic or anything like that. I've gone into, what is it that made me think this is normal? What is it that made me do this almost routine without even thinking about it? And I do go out of the house, in pants and runners and T-shirt, no makeup, and hair just washed and brushed, I have no problem with that. But yeah, the purity politics is basically mandating a lifestyle. And I think if we're mandating a lifestyle, then we're actually just getting a different box and saying this is the correct box and that's the incorrect box. And I don't see the point of that. I look at it as, if we didn't have this is right for women, this is wrong for women from any different direction, we would probably have a great diversity amongst women. And this stuff would still exist, it just wouldn't be mandated as necessary.
That's right. And the thing with makeup and certain beauty rituals, like a lot of these things have been found in so many other cultures throughout the ages. I don't know. I think, what do you think, Leah?
Yeah, I used to wear makeup, and I did stop doing it when I got in contact with radical feminism. And it's not like I was like, oh, I would like to wear makeup, but it is the wrong thing for me to do, so I must stop to be a good radical feminist. It's just the more I read about it and the radical feminist view on it, the more it looked clownish to me, and the more I just didn't want to do it. So it was really my emotional reaction to not want to do it. And that's how it should be. We shouldn't go around telling women you're a bad radical feminist because you wear makeup. That's really fucked up. Because we all have to live in society. We are social creatures, and we can't escape 100% of the patriarchy anyway. So we should do it where we can. We should strive to shed as many of the chains as we can, but not make it another to-do and another standard for women. Just persuade and let women find their way.
I think
That's how I
too,
feel.
like my whole argument against makeup isn't even necessarily a feminist one. It's more of an anti-capitalist one, where I don't want to support those industries. I don't want to. I really try not to take part in a lot of these kind of major industries like makeup and fashion. It's also I'm lazy, and it's really a practicality sort of thing for me too, where it's just like I don't have the time or the energy or the money. So for me, those are the reasons I don't wear makeup. It's not even
Saves me a lot of
necessarily a
money.
feminist reason.
Since I got into the radical feminist critique of beauty standard, it does save me a lot of money, which is really nice, which I can use for other stuff.
Right?
But to me, it's mostly a feminist thing. It's always the most important thing to me, how stuff affects women. And I do think it's fucked up that we have to paint a fake face over our actual face to be considered looking good.
Yeah.
So
And it's
I do
gotten
think
to
that's
the
fucked
point
up.
now. Yeah, and it's gotten to the point now where you have women who are doing these makeup routines that take them hours, and
Yes.
it's basically theater makeup. Like, I don't know
Mm.
if you guys ever did theater, but I
Mm.
did.
Only at
And
school.
did you?
Only at school.
Yeah, at school. But at school, you learn how to do that theater makeup, and you have to do it all the contours and the contrasting because the lights will wash your face out. But
Mm.
now everybody's doing that just normally. And unfortunately, I think it looks very pornographic. And
Mm.
I mean, and it also really depends on what country you're in, because in Japan, the modesty thing is very important, so they don't really. And if a woman does wear too much makeup, you can better bet she'll be judged on it. So it's all cultural. And yeah, I do think it is really effed up that we have to like put on a different face, or we're expected to, just to leave the house. Ah, the war paint subject. War
Yeah,
paint.
comes from
Slave
the
paint is
trans.
what Leah calls it. What?
I think it comes from the trans mostly, because you've got, what is it? It's not the transgender, it's more of the, what is it? The male to female kind of parody that gets done on stage. The name is
Drag
escaping.
queens.
Drag queen, yeah.
Yes,
drag
it's
makeup.
very drag queen makeup. Yes, everyone does look a lot like a drag queen lately. It's true.
Yeah, and it's the contrast, because the makeup trend right before that was the natural looking thing, where you had to put makeup to make it look like you hadn't put on makeup, which was also particularly fucked up.
Yeah. So I guess like there are definitely two sides to this, but when it comes down to it, do you really think not wearing makeup is going to do much of anything?
No.
Like, yeah. And I agree with you. It should be a choice that people come to naturally, right?
Yeah.
I can see how if more and more women stop with the beauty practices, then the natural female form, which is just, as you develop as a human being, physically, that becomes more normal. So I can see how en masse it would make a difference. But when a critical mass of women, then all it does is actually make it more difficult in your life.
Right. So if we had the numbers, it would make a difference.
Yeah. And I think that's the same with a lot of feminist activism. If you've got critical mass, you have a chance of changing things. Whereas when you're on your own trying to do this, you wear the fallout from it and you've got no backup or support.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree that if really many women would stop doing this, then it would be easier to more and more women also not to feel the pressure anymore.
So perhaps like as
I say this knowing full well that I'm part of the problem. I was just saying I do this knowing full well that, I'm using makeup and all that stuff, which is part of the problem in some ways. It means that I'm not supporting the women who are rallying against this by just saying, this is what I look like, deal with it. But I also know that, I know the issues behind it and why I do it and why it affects me on a personal level,
Mm. I had a thought, but now it's gone.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I think it's good if more and more women stop wearing makeup. I just don't like it to put it to them as a moral task and call them a bad feminist and immoral if they don't do it, because we are all made to feel like Quasimodo by the patriarchy no matter what we do, and it's gonna cause some women some real emotional distress if they get this pressure put on to go out barefaced, and I don't want to add this to their troubles. I don't know if I'm expressing myself very well, but that's my concern.
Yeah, you did express yourself well. I understood what you were saying there. If I just have a look at some of the issues for myself, it's having been in the sex trade for so long where I had men talking about me in front of me as though I wasn't there, and they pick you apart every tiny detail of your body and what you look like. It's all up for conversation. And, when you're in these places, you don't get the right to say, hey, look, that's really rude. You'll get fined. I think it's around $100 in most places in New Zealand. So, the right to actually say, that's really rude, could you stop talking about me like that, is something that you're going to be financially penalized for. You do that for over 20 years and there's an impact. And that impact still goes on. It's been, I think, about 4 to 5 years since I left. I think it's been 4.5 maybe. So I'm still dealing with the impact of that. And I know what they think because I've heard their thoughts out loud. So I can't unlearn that. I can't unknow it.
Mm. Yeah, I'm not sure how to respond.
Have you
I
been?
know, I understand that. I'm just giving you a very, I guess, marginalized perspective, but one that exists for quite a few women out there, and especially with radical feminists, because it tends to draw sex trade women who have exited. And some of these issues about the body and presentation are very full on.
Were you prostituted during the decriminalization phase or before or both?
Before, during, and after.
After? There's an after? It's not anymore?
Oh, meaning before decriminalisation, during the changeover, and then once it had actually come into full swing. So I guess when I say before, during, and after, I mean the rate of change.
Okay. Yeah, I can't even imagine. It must have been an absolute horror.
Yes.
I mean, I'm from Germany. We are also infamous of being the brothel of Europe and doing unspeakable things to disenfranchised women.
I read a document not too long ago about Australian brothels, and supposedly,
I
like,
think she's talking New Zealand, though.
oh, is it New Zealand?
For me, it was New Zealand and Australia, but predominantly New Zealand. So yeah, go into the Australian stuff. It's very similar in some ways anyway.
Maybe it was in New Zealand. I don't know. It was just a paper. I read it a while ago. It was a report about the safety regulations supposedly the safety regulations in these places, and how they were just not even, half of them weren't even doing it. It wasn't effective at all. So even when we decriminalize this stuff and there's supposedly all of these regulations, it does not protect women.
No, it can't. You've got loud music, a locked door, security. Nobody's going to hear if somebody, screams for help because of the music being so loud. It's usually at around nightclub level. Then there are panic alarms in the actual rooms, but I mean, everybody could work out where it was within 3 seconds of walking in a room, even one you've never been in before. It's, beside the bed on, usually, when you're facing the bed, it's usually on the left-hand side. That's, pretty much standard equivalent. It may be on the right-hand side in the odd, place. But if I can work it out in 3 seconds, so can the punter.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah, obviously I'm against decriminalization.
Yeah, sorry to derail it off, makeup and presentation.
No. I think it's all related. Like we said when we were talking last time, everything is related. Even makeup to prostitution is related because of how you said you had to present yourself in a certain way for a really long time. You were never even allowed to say anything about it.
No. And this is something that a lot of people don't realize is, you go in, you've got a 12-hour shift, sometimes a double, which is actually 17 hours, not 24. But, in that time, your men come in, they come in groups, they come in singles, they talk to each other, and their behavior is not monitored or regulated in any way. So you've got guys, saying disparaging things about women the whole time. So if you imagine even just being fully clothed in a space where people are talking about you in a disparaging way as though you're not there, there's no way in hell that's healthy for anybody. And let alone looking at the fact that you're also in lingerie, they're fully clothed, the heating is set for them. So you need to stand up and walk around to keep warm, but you're also in 6-inch heels with huge platforms, stripper shoes. And so full. And so you've got to then sit down to alleviate your feet. So even just that lounge room situation, before you even look into actual prostitution, what's happening there, that lounge room situation is abusive.
Did you hear about the sex boxes in Zurich?
The what?
The drive-in sex place in Zurich. Zurich's in Switzerland, yeah?
Yeah, it's in Switzerland, Zurich, yes. Yeah, I think that is a German thing, though, too. Or maybe they did it in both those countries.
And this is supposedly to like help prostituted women in some way. The so-called sex boxes for prostitutes, which are equipped with safety alarms, were introduced after voters in the city backed the idea in 2012 referendum. Authorities had said they wanted to provide sex workers, we could talk about that term too if you want, with a place where they could ply their trade safely. They also argued creating the sex boxes would stop people trafficking by criminal groups and help reduce the underground sex trade. I don't understand how that logic works. Like, you're creating a market for it. How would that reduce it? It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Before the sex boxes were introduced, prostitutes gathered on the riverside area near Zurich main train station, and violence was a daily reality. So now the violence is just going to be moved into these little boxes? Does that make it better somehow?
It's basically what they're saying. It's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
The public could see it.
Yeah. So you have these in Germany too?
Yeah, I think so. I think I saw that too, yes. But it's not the worst thing we have in Germany. We have the flat rate brothels, which really are the worst.
We talked about those. What can you just tell us one more time what a flat rate brothel is, in case there's anyone new listening?
Yeah, so you pay a fee like 50 euro or something, and then you can go in and you get a meal and you get beer and you get to do to as many of the women inside whatever the fucking hell you want to, how often you want to.
Yeah.
They don't have to say in it. And I'm hoping I'm not triggering anyone. I'm gonna say very disrespectful stuff now, so maybe cover your ears if you don't want to hear it. When they first introduced this, men were queuing up in like half a mile or half a kilometer long, really long queues, and the women inside were crying and pleading, and men were complaining about the women being not enthusiastic and being too used up, and the women were not allowed to discontinue. They had to endure it for hours and hours, and it was just horrible. Even some of the German press reported that an abuse against humanity.
I heard that all without any kind of condoms as well, and that some of the women ended up with some serious diseases at the end of it.
So much for I choose my choosy choice. They were in there and the men came in and they got to do to them whatever they wanted for however long they wanted, and they had zero say in that. It's really awful.
Isn't it true in Germany? And whose mic is open that's making that echo sound?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Again, I'll mute my mic and see if it's me.
Thanks.
Okay, is it still echoing?
No. And what was I going to say about Germany? Isn't it true in Germany that many of the women in these situations are trafficked into them? It's not really German women, for the most part, choosing to do this.
There's nearly no German women left. They're nearly all from impoverished parts of Eastern Europe. And recently there's an influx from Africa as well. So it's black women too.
Right. So it's I mean it's just bolstering the worldwide sex trade.
Yeah, and even the mostly white women, they're not German women. It's also racialized because they're impoverished from Eastern Europe.
Right, like places
They
like
don't always get told they're gonna be prostituted. They're gonna get told, oh, we have a nice waitress job for you. That's big money for you because in Germany wages are higher. Or even if they get told it's prostitution, they get told this liberal feminism and powerful bullshit version of it. And once they're in and they know the reality of it, they can't get out. Their passports get taken. They get raped to be quote unquote broken in and that kind of thing. And once they're there, they're trapped.
Wasn't it true that the in Germany, shit, what was I gonna say? In Germany, see, this is why I can't do these chats very good. I'm not very good at them.
Fine.
In Germany, where maybe just what was I gonna say? Something about something I heard in Germany, but it's gone now.
Okay, I can take the time to say something about all the left from the middle political parties and how fucked up they are. So
yeah,
we now
sure.
have this center-right conservative government under Angela Merkel, and actually it was the woman of her conservative party which brought in a law to protect prostituted women better because it can't go on like this. It's a disgrace. And they had this Prostitutionsschutzgesetz, which means a law for the protection of prostitutes. And all of the supposedly left parties, all of them, they all defended the flat rate Brussels after everything I just told you was already well known under the choosy choice argument bullshit. I was so infuriated. I voted conservative last time because I had to go against that. Not even not voting was enough. It's just fucked up.
As Valley, you should unmute your mic and chip in if you have anything else to say. Sorry. No. Maybe she's doing something else too now.
No, it's just it takes me a while to be able to unmute my mic, and by that stage the conversation's moved on, and so
okay. Do you have headphones?
Yeah.
Maybe just try to put your volume down a bit. That's what I do when I produce an echo.
What's that?
Sorry, what?
Just put your speaker volume down a bit so you can still hear us, but not any louder than you have to. That usually helps also.
Okay, I'll give that a go.
Yeah, because I want everyone to be able to talk as smoothly as possible. Yeah, if you would need to interject or if you have thoughts. Yeah, if it's too hard to turn the mic on and off. And also if you use headphones, it works, but maybe you don't have any, which...
I bought headphones, and then the laptop I was using was just totally inadequate. So I was given a laptop that didn't work, and so I sold both of them to buy a new one, and the headset isn't compatible with this one.
I see.
Yeah, so I've got to get round to finding something that is compatible. But you know, when I've gone around to places, they've said, "Oh yeah, we used to sell that, we don't anymore, because there's speakers in your computer."
Maybe you could check out some used shops if they have those in Australia or New Zealand. Sorry.
Yeah.
I always forget.
I'm in Australia now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's confusing because I've spent half my life in New Zealand and half in Australia, and yeah, so it is confusing. I talk about both countries, you know, interchangeably. Yeah. But somebody was saying they'd never really seen anything of Rachel Moran in the top chat, and she's the founder of Space International, and Space stands for Survivors of Prostitution Abuse Calling for Enlightenment, and there is actually a channel on YouTube, so she's worth checking out.
Oh, I didn't know she had a YouTube channel.
I think it's just the Space
It's
Channel.
Space International. Yeah. Space is now, you know, it's got a board and it's got representatives all around the world. And so, yeah, she oversees a lot of what's going on, but there will be somebody else uploading videos of all of the Space International members who are doing public speaking and all that kind of stuff. And of course, there's her in debates and public speaking as well.
Yeah. And what was the title of her book? Do you remember?
Paid for My Journey Through Prostitution.
Yeah. So that's a good book. I haven't read it yet.
There's two different versions. There is the UK version and the American version. And the American version is the second one, which she prefers. So if you haven't bought it and you're planning on buying it, then go with the American version.
So it's like a re-edit or something, like a revised version of the UK printing?
Yeah, well, the first one, she, you know, had the editor and didn't have any experience with having, you know, somebody else editing your work. And there's bits of it she says she reads and just cringes now in the UK version. And so when it got to be published in the United States, she had a little bit of experience behind her and could say, well, actually, I want to go back to the original with this bit and that bit and the other bit, you know?
Okay. So try to find the US version of her book. Paid for.
The UK version has got a picture on it. The American version has no picture. It's just the title of the book and a black cover.
Speaking of books, are there any other books you'd like to, anything you've read lately? Have you been reading anything lately? No one?
Not very
terrible with
recently.
that. I'm such an online reader.
I read online articles, but a whole book, I haven't been reading a whole book for a while. I think the last one I read was Right-Wing Women by Andrea Dworkin.
I didn't finish that.
No, I liked it even better
It's
than...
not that I didn't like it. I think it was, like, for me, maybe hard to understand.
Yeah, when she goes in depth about Jewish and Christian mythology and scholarship, sometimes I had to skip over that too. Yes.
So what was one of the best lessons that you took away from that book?
Yeah, how the minds of conservative women work and that they are not stupid, actually, what the deal is they are making with right-wing men. And how the left's misogyny, like you can see, for example, in brocialism and third-wave feminism, drives women to be right-wing women in the first place, because it's the only place where they can they trade in just having to obey one man instead of the lot of them, which is kind of not a bad deal, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that one was a little too heady or something for me. I'll probably go back to it, but it didn't catch my attention like pornography did.
It's also kind of amazing how similar third-wave feminists and right-wing women are in their thinking. How they think that kowtowing up to men is gonna help them along.
That's a good point.
But I obviously have forgotten lots of it because I can't make a proper summary right now.
No. I think that's good. I think it's a good starting off point, and unfortunately, for some reason, I just couldn't finish it. I guess I wasn't that into it. I have to, like, really be into books to finish. I got pretty far, but I just couldn't finish it. Because I started, I think, reading pornography at the same time, and that one was just way too more, for me, it was way more interesting.
I think I haven't actually read that one. I'm kind of scared. It might be too much of a downer, too much horrors. I don't know.
You think it might trigger you or something?
Mm,
Make you feel kind of funky?
yeah, just do I really want to know how disgusting men are and how much they hate us? I don't know. I mean,
It's
I have
really
a pretty
hard to
good
read
idea, but
when she summarizes certain things that she wants to put in the book, like certain bits of pornography that she writes about.
yeah, it's
But
the same with Gail Dines. She's wonderful, but I just can't always stomach that.
yeah, but the most important thing I remember from that book actually, and it's like you, I have like maybe one sentence to say is that this is how men hate us and they don't see us as human. That's what I really took away as the like main message from that book.
Mm.
Like we are not viewed as human beings. So, but I read that quite some time ago. I'd actually like to make a video about it, specifically for people who it would be difficult, I think, to read. I think I'm pretty desensitized, which is sad, but I it doesn't bother me really so much to read that material, unfortunately. I don't know what that says about me, but
Not even the Gail Dines stuff. I mean, I watched a lot of that, but it has to be a good day for me to want to actually know that stuff in detail that Gail Dines talks about.
yeah, I didn't finish her book either. But I think it's because the writing style, and it almost seemed, just because it was just seemed a little dated, even though a lot of the arguments are still applicable. But I I don't know. I'm very picky with reading, I guess, and if I'm gonna finish something, I just have to devour it. And I also really like having a print version, and I've been trying to read all of this stuff off of PDF, and it's really hard for me. I don't know if
Do you have
anyone
an
else has that
ebook reader?
issue.
Do you
What?
have an ebook? Do you have an ebook reader, or do you just try to read it on a computer?
I had an ebook reader, but I never used it, so I got rid of it.
Yeah, I find I prefer reading print books rather than ebooks, and I don't have a Kindle or anything like that, so it makes it very difficult. But it's also just online, you get constant distractions, like somebody sends a message and then you've got notifications for something else. And so it's hard to stay with it long enough to get absorbed by it.
Yeah. That's what I love about a book. Well, I guess you can do that with an e-reader too, but this is how horrible I am. I can't even stand the touch of the plastic in my hand. Does that like I want to hold the paper. I don't know.
I
I don't know why I'm like that. I'm an old-fashioned kind of person, I guess.
most people are like you, witchy, but I'm one of the ones who is the other way around. I just like that it doesn't weigh much, and that you can change the font size to however big you like.
That's kind of fun. Yeah.
And you can have
There
100 books in your pocket weighing next to nothing.
There's a group of women that's just forming at the moment. They're using Facebook as the platform to form. But what they're doing is they're getting women involved in reading books and recording them. And this is obviously they're checking all the copyright laws and all that stuff. So it'll be older works that they're allowed to do this with, but turning it into audiobooks. So they can just get online and listen to the book rather than read it.
That would be great because I could go jogging while listening to to feminist books.
Yeah.
I like listening a lot more than reading, especially if it's women reading it to me. I really like that.
So does
Yeah,
that have a website
it's
or?
easier. Sorry, what was that?
Does that have a website?
It was just a Facebook post somewhere. I can't remember where or who or any of that stuff. I was just like, I'm looking for women to volunteer to do this, and I was like, okay, I don't have time.
So it's not even, they're just trying to put it together now.
Yeah, and it's to get radical feminist works that have been discontinued and things like that. I think that's where they want to start so that these books become available again.
Great. Well, that's exciting. I hope that and we can put it on our forum. Did you join Gender Hammer, S Valley?
Yeah, I did join. And I've had a look through and made the odd kind of comment. Can't remember what profile name I've used, but
okay,
I'm there. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm really glad it's up, and I think it will be really popular once people actually start getting involved. It's one of those things that you've got to gear it up, you know?
Yes, Cyber and I are actually doing the tech stuff for it, which works out really well because we complement each other very well. I'm a programmer, and she's a hacker and security expert and administrator, so everything I'm bad at, she's good at, and vice versa. We have it all covered amongst the two of us.
That's great. Yeah, we talk sometimes privately, so I know all about the implementation of Gender Hammer, which is like super exciting. And if I had money, I would donate, but I don't have any extra money at the moment to spare. But what's really exciting is actually I was in touch with Kathy Brennan, and I might be making a little documentary about the Pussy Church. So
that's cool.
That's my big news.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw some stuff about the Pussy Church of Modern Witchcraft. I won't name any names, but this was all on Facebook. There were women saying some of the most lesbophobic fucking garbage I've ever seen.
What were they saying? Like people who were saying that they're also in the feminist groups, so they're like feminists saying this stuff?
Unfortunately, it's people who call themselves rad femmes who are saying this stuff. You know, like I think the worst bit was I saw somebody calling it lesbo bullshit. They were complaining that non-lesbians can't lead, they can't vote. And it's like, well, if you haven't put the work in, then nothing's being taken from you. All they're doing is protecting their own work and keeping it in their own hands, which is kind of normal. Not only that, but nobody's forcing anybody to join or changing beliefs or any of this stuff. So what's the threat here?
I don't know. That's an interesting kind of point of contention, I think, in feminist communities. This is me speaking as a total outsider who, I don't, I'm not in any kind of community other than this one, our little YouTube thing. But it seems like an interesting sort of issue that pops up from time to time when things like this happen.
But what do you all think? I'm interested there. Some lesbians are making the argument you can choose to be a lesbian. And I'm asking this mainly because if it's really a choice, I want to be a lesbian. I just don't know how to do it. I mean, I don't want to be a head woman in a patriarchy. That really sucks. But I'm not sure how you choose to be a lesbian.
I don't believe that you can choose.
Yeah.
I think the argument is interesting, and I think what you can do as a heterosexual woman or a bisexual woman is invest and spend time with your female friends more than you do with men, and to not put men's needs first. I think that's kind of where you can take it. If you're, I mean, I don't believe you can choose to be, I mean, I don't believe you can even choose who you're attracted to. Unfortunately, it's kind of, I think, a primal sort of thing. At least that's how I feel attraction works. You meet somebody and you're like, wow, this person's whatever it is that you find. For me, it's intellectually, if I'm having a great conversation and I think this person's interesting. And so, and I'm attracted to men and women. So, and I've never been able to choose who I'm attracted to. I've had like numerous crushes on people that have never been realized, of course, because I never say anything. But yeah, I don't think so. What do you think, S Valley?
I find political lesbianism really interesting because I know Sheila Jeffries and Julie Bindel both say they chose lesbianism, that it wasn't a natural orientation or what they thought they were when they first came across it. So both of them have been in long-term relationships with women, and they're still with those partners. So I don't know whether it's a choice or not. It's like, because both of them decided quite young, and they could have been bi or they could have been lesbian all along. Who knows? I mean, you'd have to ask them. And I never have asked either of them those questions. So I don't know, what that process was or how the decision was made and what it was like for them after the decision was made. It'd be really interesting to hear a woman talk about that,
Yeah.
For
I
myself,
just remember
like
that.
Oh, sorry, what?
Sorry, I was interrupting you. I just wanted to say that Julie Bindel once wrote an article, a 12-step program to becoming a lesbian. And I got totally excited about it and said, yeah, okay, I'm going to do that. I was serious about it. And when I clicked on it, it was just some comedy book two Swedish lesbians had written that she was interviewing them about. And yeah, where's my 12-step program? I don't want to be het anymore. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's true, and you can't just choose that.
I've read a lot of stuff online, not necessarily articles so much as lesbians talking about this themselves and saying that, some of them are for it and say, look, you can change your orientation. Others are absolutely against it, saying, it's unfair on natal lesbians to be dealing with somebody who is not genuinely attracted to them, but just ideologically wants to be attracted.
Yeah, I don't believe you can do anything about your sexuality. So I don't know. Again, it's hard for me. I can't speak. I'm not a lesbian. I'm a bisexual woman. So, and I understand. I think it's totally great and good if lesbian women do have their own space. I don't have a problem with that. I don't understand why people would. And, it's scary to me that you're saying that some women on Facebook who claim to be feminists are, saying all this stuff about lesbians creating their own spaces. It doesn't make any sense. That's why we should all get off Facebook. Sorry.
Hi. It's getting crowded in here. Hi, Black. Hi, Ash.
Oh, hey, guys.
Hey,
do you guys have anything you want to add to this conversation about political lesbianism?
I've always been really, really fascinated by the topic, and I got really excited when you all were talking about it. So I really want to talk about it with you. It's something like I also have heard lesbians say, like, oh, any straight woman can be a lesbian if she wants to, or side where, like, you know, if that's not what, you can't just choose to be it. And I just want to be, I mean, I felt like heterosexual for most of my life, and I just want to be respectful to lesbians, but I have to, I wish I were a lesbian and not
Yeah,
heterosexual.
me too, exactly that.
But I'm not going to, you know, if it's disrespectful to lesbians, I'm not going to cross that boundary. But I'm kind of just keeping an open mind and like listening and taking in what other lesbians think and just sort of like leaving it open. But my instinct is that like you like what you like and you can't choose. But I'm still keeping like an open mind, like maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's not, but like I've decided like I am no more men. Like I'm not going to date men anymore, no matter what. So it would just be like I'm politically asexual, or I don't know what the word for that would be.
I decided the same thing, Ash. I just don't want to put up with them anymore.
Yeah.
And
I
so
don't
now
want to date men, certainly. I actually, but I think everybody knows this about me. I don't want to date anybody. So I'm like
also,
totally out of the
I
whole
didn't know
game.
that about you.
I thought I
I didn't
said
know
it
that
like
about you.
multiple times. Like, yeah, I can't. I don't. Honestly, for me at this point in my life too, and like if you're in a transitional phase in your life, I really don't think you should be like trying to pursue any romantic kind of relationships. So yeah, that's where I'm at just personally.
that's a good point, but it sounds like you wanted to never ever in your life date again or something.
Yeah, kinda. I'm kinda there. I like
Okay.
being friends with people. I really do. I
So
don't.
Witchy, is that because you don't believe in love, or is that because of
Ooh, the word love. What does love mean to you? Well, it's such a tricky concept to me. I don't understand it. I think there are lots of different kinds of love too.
All right, is that because you don't believe in like romantic relationships, or
For myself, maybe not. But not for everybody.
Witchy, I listened to your series on gynecology when Baby Radfem put all of them together and put music to it, and it really inspired me to start reading it. And I'm really into the idea of sparking and like the whole female friendship thing.
Great. Yeah, that book changed my life.
What was the book?
The Gynecology, Meta-Ethics of Radical Feminism.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about political lesbianism? Painted Black, our resident lesbian, right?
Yeah, big fucking old dyke. Have been for many years. I knew I was when I was like 4, and the only reason I had heterosexual sex was to please my mother. Try and be a heterosexual. Fuck. That was a stupid thing to do, because I ended up getting smashed in the face by him.
Oh.
Yeah, but I like men's company. I do like men, but I don't like their behaviour. I don't like their entitlement. I don't like patriarchy. I like women. I love women, but there's certain women. It's like, everyone finds people that get on their goat, that are trash, or that are shit, that are they're assholes, or you know, I find I grapple with myself about that because there are really nice people around. I haven't met too many nice men, unfortunately. Because most end up showing their true colours in the end. But I think a political lesbian is fine. I don't have a problem with it, to tell you the truth, because it's just it's a word, it's a title, and it's not also corresponding with what the word actually means. Because the word actually means, lesbian actually means, is that you're attracted to romantically, sexually, um, uh, what's the word? You know, friendship like with women. Lesbian is a specific word on what women are and what women do. It encapsulates that both who you are and what you do in the one word. What being a political lesbian is it's a political feminist. That's what that is. You exclusively liking women doesn't mean to say that you don't like men, but you don't have sex with men. You see? When you're talking about a political part of a lesbian, being a lesbian is political. I'm just by the fact that I'm a lesbian, I am a political, because the fact remains is I don't men, I don't like men romantically. I don't center men. So that's kind of like an oxymoron, you know, when you nut it all out. Being a lesbian is a doing and a it's a verb as well as an adjective. Being political. Go ahead.
I personally feel like if a woman isn't actually sexually attracted to women, then the term political non-practicing heterosexual or would be a better term than political lesbian. To me, that is, you know, political lesbian is not just the political space, it's also being genuinely attracted sexually, physically, emotionally, and mentally to women.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Well, first of all, Painted Black, thank you for your perspective. I really enjoyed listening to you. And also, S. Valley, I wrote that down, political non-practicing heterosexual, because I think I might fall into that category.
Yeah, because there's a difference between avoiding men and choosing women.
And there's nothing wrong with either, really, because it just, I mean, I find being, sorry.
Someone's I don't know whose mic it is, but.
Well, I've left mine open, but it's on only at 28%, the speakers. So I'm guessing, you know, it shouldn't be echoing now.
Not really.
It's not echoing for me.
I think it might have been Ash for a hot second, but I don't know.
It's okay now?
Ash.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Am I echoing?
No, not now. No
okay. Damn it, it's 2018. Why isn't this technology better?
Yeah. Fucking men.
Men make our microphones echo.
Yeah.
Well, okay, women don't have penises.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I actually wrote "women don't have dicks" on a lamppost the other day, and then on my way home I had to walk past the same lamppost, and I added, "We just put up with them."
Oh.
Yeah, that's funny. I also love that you decided to use "don't" because of the alliteration. Just my nerdy poetry brain happening. I like women don't have dicks with those two D sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's also in Australia. More people understand that than, there's nice, polite language.
Penises.
It's all just too much.
Ugh. So, Ash, how have you been? And Painted Black, how have you been? You sort of came in. Thank you so much. How have
Thank
you?
you for inviting me.
I've been okay. I've been really busy. I actually wanted to ask you women your opinion on something. This is actually kind of a silly thing, but I'm in kind of like a band, like a music project, and I'm trying to push all of my radical feminist agenda in the lyrics, but I need like a name for the band, and I want it to be radical feminist, but not like you look at the title and it's like, oh, a turf. I'm not gonna let her play. You know what I mean? Like, does anyone have any ideas?
Ideas for band names?
Yeah.
What?
Women on top.
Women on top.
It's a little too sexual for me.
There's a book called Women on Top.
Hey?
There's a book called Women on Top.
Is there?
I read it years ago, and it was by I can't remember the name of the woman right now. It'll probably pop into my head when this conversation's finished. But she's a psychologist, and she was looking at female sexual fantasy and what it means, and what the most common fantasies are, where they come from, all that kind of stuff. It was very interesting. And she wrote another one called Men Up, which is the male version of exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling super creative, or else I'll try to, you know what? I'm going to take your question. I'm going to sleep on it. If I can think of anything, I'll definitely get back to you. But off the top of my head, I can't think of band names. I've never been good at the band name game unless I see a particular phrase that I think would make a good band name, you know? So I'll try to think about it for you and get back to you on that.
Thanks.
There's
No
a
pressure or anything.
who has a username called Transplants Are Plants, but you will get a lot of heat if you do that.
Use the word radical.
The word what?
Rad. So instead of it being radical feminist this or rad fem that, just rad in the title somewhere, which radical feminists know, but not necessarily, be a turf band or whatever.
What kind of music is it?
That's a good idea. Well, I do punk singing in it, so I'm screaming. It's like singing. It's kind of like, I guess, alternative rock grunge.
That's fun.
Yeah.
How about Rad Waves?
Rad Waves.
That's a good idea. I wanted Abris maybe, or Amazon in the title, or some reference to gynecology, because I'm so obsessed with that right now, like spinning. But I don't know if I.
Uterus girls.
That would probably get me banned, but I really like it.
Brass ovaries?
Yeah.
Brass ovaries.
Fallopian sounds.
I'm writing all these down. I doubt that I would be able to do them, but I like them a lot. Like hearing you throw ideas out at me.
Surf is a fleur.
Surf is a fleur.
Oh, that's good.
Izzy Carter wrote that in the top chat.
Good on you, Izzy.
Surf is a fleur.
It's a flower.
Flower. Yeah. All right.
Just like a surfboard and a flower or something. Oh, it's a French band. Ça fait les fleurs.
You're in New York, right? Sorry, I shouldn't. Maybe. Do it in the private, the secret chat. Say yes or no in the secret chat. Sorry, sometimes I forget that we're not
I'm
just
on my phone.
Oh, okay. Eve's apple.
Yeah.
This is funny.
I know that.
I like Eve's apple though. That's kind of fun because there's lots of like meanings you can take from that.
Right.
I do like that.
Because the apple is the fruit of knowledge, right? And also
it's a nice reversal.
Play on words of Adam's apple instead of that, it's Eve. Yeah, it's got multiple meanings. Super fun. That's fun. That's a fun game. Trying to think of radical feminist band names. That should be a post on the forum. You should put a post. We should put a post for you on the forum about this. I'm sure we could get a lot of suggestions.
Oh, wait, what forum?
Gender Hammer.
Which forum?
Gender Hammer.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we can put that in both chats so people can find it.
Oh yeah, sure. Let me see if there's. Did you put a link or?
I'll put it in the one chat and put it in the other.
Word.
For those who don't know Peach Yogurt, who is also a YouTuber and a well-known radical feminist, she made a forum for radical feminists and other women leaning in this direction, where we can speak freely since it's getting more and more censored in social media places.
Oh, right. Yeah, I saw that video that Peachy made, and I thought, oh. And then I thought, will I go and I just forgot about it. I should get back onto it, eh? Go and have a look.
Someone
it's
typing
got
away.
570 users so far in a week or so, which is really good.
How much?
570 something. Let me.
Girls are flocking like mad.
575 as of now.
Wow. Well, the girls are taken to it, eh?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, Mumsnet, it seems Mumsnet is really trying hard now to throw everyone out. One woman who came over there said she didn't even get the three strikes, which you get there when you break their speech rules. She didn't have any strike. They just wrote her that she was being snarky and antagonizing, and she behaves like she doesn't like the moderation team well, and they don't want to put up with her anymore, so she has to go.
Is that on Gender Hammer?
No, on Mumsnet. That's where a lot of women come from.
Oh.
Also, you are now forbidden on Mumsnet to say stunning and brave, since it's triggering trans women.
Ah. I never got on to Mumsnet because I'm, not a mother and unable to be a mother now because I'm old. But I just figured, well, it wasn't really the type of place for me, But I've heard so many stories about how trans have infiltrated the place, the channel or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And I feel they're doing their best to infiltrate every single
space.
Yes, space. Thank you. that women are in to insert themselves to dominate, and it's just like fucking Jesus Christ, they just won't leave us alone. They're obsessed.
Yeah, that's why I don't buy this "we just want to live our lives" bullshit that they keep touting.
I never have, though. I never have. You know why? Because I've seen so many of them in real life. I've been friends with them, for fuck's sake. And I've told them off and said, stop your bullshit. We don't act like that, you know? That's you being a male, you cunt. You know? I say cunt, but I don't mean it derogatory.
Hey,
I know it's hard to say.
I know it's not the best word, but hey.
Yeah, I won't say it. I understand.
No, it's a free space. I mean, honestly, like, I have the worst mouth, and I have to watch it sometimes.
Yeah,
so I get you.
I apologize. But I just, you know, sometimes you have to lower yourself to their level to speak to them, and sometimes you don't. And I'm trying really hard to do not that. And I just, you know, when I get angry and upset about what they do to women, it unfortunately comes out of my mouth because it's a habit I'm trying to break.
Yeah, but I think, you know, whatever. I don't think anyone's too offended. I don't know, but I want to look at what S Valley just said in the chat here. She says, "I just remembered Chelsea Manning debacle and Amnesty International Australia involvement."
Right.
What do you mean? I don't understand. And I don't love talking about Chelsea Manning, but that dude.
Oh.
What happened? What happened?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, Chelsea Manning has been denied entrance to Australia, and it's on the whistleblowing issue. It's not on anything else, you know. Right. It's personally, I don't think that's a good enough reason to deny somebody the right to visit here and to speak, you know. But has got involved in all of this and started a campaign to, you know, try and get Chelsea Manning into the country. Now, personally, I think, you know, not necessarily behind that, simply because I don't much like the other things that this person talks about. But at the same time, I don't believe that this person should be, you know, denied access for having been told the truth, you know.
Well, actually, can I just interject? He was denied access because he was in jail for over 12 months. That's the reason why he was denied. Anybody else who says any different is bullshitting, because we have a strict policy that we don't have criminals that have been in jail for over 12 months, especially on well, he was in jail for treason, and especially on, you know, violent crimes and anything like that. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, Amnesty International, what happened was somebody said something about First Amendment rights, meaning American rights. They quoted Benjamin Franklin with what happens when you no longer have freedom of speech. Amnesty International gave great applause to this statement. And now, in Australia, we don't have a Bill of Rights, for starters. We have a constitution, but it doesn't include a Bill of Rights. We don't have freedom of speech. We have implied freedom of speech, which is a completely different thing. It's based on the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, David Lange, suing the Australian media, and that implied freedom of speech because the High Court ruled that there is an implication in the democratic process that people have the right to speak politically and have a say in government. So that's how we have any kind of freedom of speech at all over here. And even that is possible for it to be overturned by the High Court again at any point in time. So, you know, the fact that Amnesty International backed this whole freedom of speech thing based on an American constitution rather than an Australian one. And it wasn't just Amnesty International, the international bit, it was the Australian branch of Amnesty International. this really tells no fucking clue what they're doing.
Mm.
And I find it really telling that this hasn't gone out into the media, despite, you know.
Hello?
Everybody clear?
Hello?
Oh,
Yeah.
I
You-
Can you
think you
hear
got
me?
cut off. Can you start from what you were saying about it's not been talked about in the media, because I think you dropped out.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, the media has completely ignored the fact that Amnesty International got something so basic wrong. And so there's no conversation about this, despite the fact that thousands of people saw, you know, lauding of American constitutional rights as though they were in Australia from the Australian branch of Amnesty International. And I feel like, how can we have this, you know, so-called world leader in human rights that can't even get its own country's laws right?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And wasn't Amnesty International also one of the organizations, or the organization that, like, they think decriminalizing prostitution is like the best thing ever?
Yeah, they did an investigation. They went to 4 countries, but what happened was they didn't go to New Zealand. So the only country in the world to have full decriminalisation, they didn't go to. They avoided Germany, the first country in the world to legalisation, and they avoided Sweden, the first country in the world to implement the Nordic model. So the 3 most obvious countries that they should have visited, they didn't go to. Then they went to the International Sex Workers Alliance, which at the time was headed by Alexandra Gill. Now, Alexandra Gill is in prison, in a Mexican prison for sex trafficking now. This happened immediately after Amnesty International had come out for full decriminalisation. And that person also worked for the World Health Organization. And so the Charter of Sex Worker Rights, which advocates for full decriminalisation, was written by a sex trafficker and adopted by both the World Health Organization and the International Sex Workers Union from that same person. And this is where Amnesty got their policy from.
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it's an absolute farce, you know?
Yeah.
There's so many people who pointed this out and said, look, you've got to scrap your recommendation and start from scratch. And Amnesty has just, you know, swept it under the rug. It never happened.
Yeah.
I don't understand how a human rights organization doesn't understand that prostitution and the trafficking of women is treating women as if they're chattel. I don't get it. This is slavery.
Run by men.
Yeah.
Run by men.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, yeah. But it's infuriating every time I hear this kind of stuff. And meanwhile, in the United States, the ACLU thinks that their resources are best spent on some guy who stabbed a woman 30 times.
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that story where
That's fucked up.
this guy stabbed a woman 30 times, and the ACLU is protecting his right to wear women's underwear in prison?
Yeah. Yeah. But
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I about that.
These organizations just, like, they don't care. They don't, and they make it really clear to me, their politics every time. It's just never ending. Both of these organizations. And so, I don't know, I think we need to start creating our own systems outside of them, if possible. That's why this networking and, you know, this forum that was created is great, and I'm excited. I think, you know, I'm feeling optimistic.
Yeah, and it's getting offline now too. I mean, I met up with Izzy today, who is in the top chat. She's Australian, but she's on holiday, so it was really nice to meet the Red Femin in real life. And Cyber, she's connecting a lot of women. She has some women found in my city for me too to meet up with. It's really great.
Yeah. And I'm going to try to start networking together some more people in the United States as well. Because I'm very interested in meeting, because that's the only thing, or I believe that's the only way to do anything about any of this is like collective action, face to face. And I think you know how I feel about Facebook, so I think you should delete it. If you're on.
It's the coal face. Unfortunately, that's where they're infiltrating young kids is on Facebook, on YouTube. And so, so there's got to be some of us that have got to be there. Like I've just been deleted. I mean, I've been blocked out of my second account yesterday, last night, or whenever it was, because some trans activist went on a friend of mine's page, went down through her, months and months of. She's so out. She's straight and lives in Seattle and has a son, and went down her bloody page and I said tranny, and it's like, and then I think I actually got a tranny IT person who wrote a blurb to me saying, you're continually writing, because this is the third 30-day, the first and the second account, 30-day block in my account. And I think someone actually wrote that I was continuously. It wasn't a Facebook rant like they used to do, like you've been blocked for 30 days. It was an actual someone writing to me saying you constantly have been saying hateful things. Well, I've never had that before from Facebook, ever.
Yeah.
So it was. I think it was a trans person saying you're continuously saying hateful things on Facebook, and you have to stop it. It goes against our.
Well, I got a strike for hate speech on my other channel just because I said that Serena Daniari is a man. So
Wow.
That's how easy it is. Hate speech. I think when you incite violence to a specific person or group of people, that's what hate speech is. And I don't believe me calling a trans person a man is hate speech. I don't, that's just the truth. So I'm making some coffee right now. I'm going to probably wrap this up soon-ish. Because I got a lot of stuff to do with moving still. But I think MD said she was trying to join in.
I'm here.
Oh, hey, I didn't even notice because I'm literally walking around my apartment with the laptop closed. And
okay.
Yeah, I have it like in my hand, like it's a phone or something, but it's a giant laptop that I'm like toting around because I want to make this coffee. But hey MD.
Hey guys.
Hi Em.
Hey.
Hi.
What were you guys talking about? Because I only caught the tail end of all that, like the hate speech thing.
Hate speech. Facebook.
You know that like people can like call the cops and like say like online, like and say that you're like harassing them or something, like for different things. And I'm wondering like if that's happened for like someone like a radical feminist who's like trolling or like just to vent, because people do that, but like also just like saying trans women are men. Like I wonder if people are going to be able to like call police on people.
I wouldn't put it past the authority.
Something like that kind of almost happened to me. Like I deleted my Reddit account today because I got a little scared. Yeah, like I was actually complaining about the town that I lived in, and like the gender stuff there, and someone was like, "This is vulgar and rude," and actually, I think it's harassment. I was like, "What the? I'm complaining about a town, like, like I'm complaining about gender attitudes about gender in a town. Like I don't. That there's no way that's harassment. I'm sorry.
You're a criminal.
I know, but I mean, it just kind of, I mean, it's fine. I can't imagine that actually being a real threat or whatever, but it's just like the fact that people think like that is scary. Like it's.
Police would laugh at us. They would just laugh. They'd come to the door and go, "What? You know, I've got a girl that's been kidnapped. I'm supposed to be there now, and you're what? Complaining about?"
Well, it has happened in the UK to two women. We were talking about Linda Bellos earlier, and they have done it to Venice Ellen too, but it's in the UK.
What a waste of time of police resources.
Exactly. Like, you know.
The police did actually look into it. After they looked into it, they dismissed it as bullshit, but they did go and investigate. And Posey Parker too, by the way.
Yes.
So it's 3 women in the UK, which the police has investigated.
There was another woman too on Gender Hammer who is saying that like she didn't hire somebody. Did anyone see that thread?
No.
What?
This was, I don't know who, it's anonymous, right? So there was a story about a woman who she hires people for a job. I'm not going to say specifics to protect, her identity here, but she had the hiring power, right? She was the person in charge of that. And she decided not to hire this trans person because like they were obviously not fit for the job.
Yeah.
In many ways. And the trans person complained about it, and I believe like the police came and not harassed her, but like questioned her. So it's really scary too, especially in the United States with like the amped up power of our police. Like they have military grade vehicles in the United States.
Yeah. Wow.
Our state, our our power, the it's out of control. The power of the state in the United States is out of control.
They're following that here in Australia. They're getting the same shit. They've got their powers here too. We can't protest. We can get arrested for protesting here.
Really?
So, yeah. We can get just like if we're not licensed, if we haven't got gone to the council and say we're going to be doing this, if we just do a protest, we can be arrested.
Ugh.
And they are they also ramping up there. They've just implemented they've got new machine guns here in Sydney. Yeah. So we follow Canada and America a lot here. We're being Americanized, and it shits me to tears.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no. It's not about individuals there. I'm just talking about the political climate and what we follow,
Well, it's now the state, like, even when we do protest, like, it's very difficult to do. And it also depends on which group you're a part of, too. So.
Yeah. All that go into play as well.
They're basically forcing us to go underground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's what we're talking about.
I'll be back in like 2 seconds. Hold on. I have to go. Hold on.
America ruining good shit yet again. Nanjal, like, I understand that you think that, like, I don't know. Sorry, go ahead. Someone else.
I was just going to say, we've got 2 cases in Australia where they haven't gone to the police. What they've done is they've got a commission. So the Human Rights Commission then investigates the online so-called bullying and harassment. And one case of that has been, you know, one by the radical feminist in the first half of this whole debacle to go, and the other one is against men. And both of these cases are based on saying that men cannot become women.
Right.
So it hasn't even harassment, anything like that. But the complainant has stated that it's bullying, and they've also stated that it's against their human rights.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up. And
So
then,
misgendering is against their human rights. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what you're hearing. Yep. Yeah, one of them is in Australia, the other one is in Melbourne. Now, we don't have laws against misgendering in either of those parts of Australia. However, we do have laws against misgendering in the ACT.
and
So it's the Human Rights Commission.
yeah, in Sydney they do too, apparently.
Really? I didn't know that. I'll have
Yep.
to look it up.
Yeah, that's recent.
And isn't it true in Canada as well?
Yeah,
Didn't they
Oh, yeah.
didn't they pass that? This is Orwellian. This is so frightening.
yeah.
It is a disgusting abuse of power. It's disgusting. Like I just can't I don't know. It just makes me react so strongly.
Yeah. What upsets me too is you've got the handmaidens all bloody backing it up as well. Like I just saw a thing on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter, but I can click on someone's Twitter if someone puts it up in a Facebook comment section, and you can see what goes on. And there's one feminist lesbian here in Sydney that went on about the Bradley Manning thing about getting, and she said, and she was tracking the someone put up a signature to get him a petition to allow him into Australia, and there was over 10,000 signatures on that petition, and all these women are going, oh, and they're calling him a her. I mean, I think he's still got his dick as far as I know. So, and he's a man anyway without a dick. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The fact remains is this is a man. It's not a woman. Why you bloody, I can't believe they are just saying that men are women. It's like, yes, it's very Orwellian and it's crazy and drives me insane. I get so frustrated. And you can't talk to these people.
Sexism with more sexism makes you wrong also. And I'm thinking, what sexism, Mike?
Oh, Mike.
Is it
Don't make me put you in timeout again.
Yeah. Is it sexist to call a man a man? I mean, weird.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that was in response to, because I'm the worst with this. I can't really do all of this stuff at once. So I didn't even see that.
No. I just find him being very obtuse.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, Mike, just watch and listen. If you have anything really relevant to say, feel free to. But yeah, I don't know what fighting sexism with more sexism. If you're saying like we can't criticize men and that's like sexist or misandrist or some bullshit like that, that's not right. I mean, the power structures in place, there's no way for us to be able to, we're basically speaking truth to power when we talk about that. Oh, yes, ma'am. Great. So now I'm a ma'am. I'm a teacher. Yeah, I mean, I've been called ma'am a lot. I've been called sir a lot. That's why the misgendering thing drives me up the wall, because
Yeah.
I've been misgendered. Like I've been misgendered wearing. It seems like when I wear my cowboy hat, that's when it happens. Even though my breasts are totally, they're there.
Yep.
They're there. You can see them. Or I have a baseball cap too.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I wear them all the time. Yeah,
and
it's the hat. It does it.
The
It does
hat.
it every time.
the hat like is like, I can no longer see your breasts, right? Like, what? It gets me all the time. I've been called sir. If I'd probably have at least $100 if I had $1 for every time.
Yeah.
At least.
I mean, I feel like, okay, like, I feel like some people just, like, maybe they need glasses or something. Like, maybe we're misconstruing this completely. Like, maybe people just, like need glasses. They don't have glasses, so they just go off sex stereotypical clothing. Sorry. Because
That's
like
really nice that you're making excuses for people.
Yeah, like I was like being facetious because I've never had that problem. Like I've never really had much of a problem in determining, like, I don't know, like I just don't look at the world in that way. Like if people like think you're a man because you're wearing a baseball hat, like that just seems like, I mean, I imagine that's like I'm not, like, I'm saying just like I find that so ridiculous that people like,
it happens to me a lot on airplanes. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I really don't. Stewardesses most like, or airline attendants. Sorry, I guess stewardess is not the right word anymore. But
yeah,
I don't know. I guess they're just looking down, and I have the hat on, and
yeah, maybe it's like that's like the psychological effect of like gender and sexism. Like people just think like that, so they like. You think? I mean, I don't know. That's how I would explain that, actually.
Can I ask? As I'm in Germany here, and it's really normal, even for a humdrum normie head woman to look quote unquote butch.
Yeah.
How is it in other countries? Is that really so unusual just to have a short-haired woman, no makeup, t-shirt and jeans? Because it's really normal here.
Yeah, I grew up with a lot of like straight girls, and they're married now, have kids, like, and they have short pixie cuts. They think it's cute. Like, I mean, I don't really. Yeah, you're right. Like, women aren't like hyper feminine all the time here. Like, that's only like some women are like that. But like straight, yeah, there's just plenty of straight women who like, have short hair, wear masculine, what's called masculine clothing, right? Like
comfortable clothes, you mean?
Yeah, comfortable. Man, now I'm getting infected with it. Yeah, comfortable clothing, other adjectives,
You know what I mean?
It's the perfect. Yeah, comfortable is the right word for it. It's the very appropriate adjective for that.
Functional.
Because functional, practical. I don't know. Actually, like, I like the way I look in comfortable clothes sometimes, to be vain about it. Just to be superficial about it for a second. I like looking comfy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is normal in your country as well, because I've been wondering, because trans activists always make it seem like it's totally outrageous to see a woman, quote unquote, looking butch, and it's really not.
Yeah. They don't like butch women. They hate butch women.
Yeah.
So much. Oh my God! I've had so many run-ins with trans and drag queens because I'm butch. Like, well, why are you even talking? That's that attitude. It's like, oh God, go away, you ugly looking rag. With your 10 pounds of makeup on, it doesn't do you good. Go away. They're just rude. They're just ugly, and they're just ugly inside, and that comes out in their face and their gestures and their clothes. It's just ugliness.
The more I think about drag, and the more that I like come to it with a critical eye, the less I can tolerate it, to be honest.
They've just this weekend, you know how Priscilla Queen of the Desert, well, it all ended up in Broken Hill, which is a mining town, 900 miles away from Sydney, up in the northwest of the state. And they've just had a great big party where all the drags, and the news this morning was like they're all animated. The presenters are all animated. Oh, the drag! It was a drag weekend, and they call it the heelless or something like that. The broken heel, like broken heel, as in broken heels. You know, it's like they
yeah.
made a fuss about that bullshit about all these men. And this one punter goes, "Oh, it's so inclusive here." You know, it was a man. It looked like he was. You couldn't tell whether he was straight or gay. And you know, not that anyone knows who is straight and who is gay anyway, unless you ask them. And then he goes, "Oh yes, it's so inclusive here." And I'm like, really? Where's all the butch lesbians then? Where are they? Not there.
I wonder if Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, would now be perceived as being transphobic. I mean, it was made quite a long time ago, and they admitted they were male.
Well, that's another interesting thing that you see a lot, where they, you know, when they get confronted with drag queens, and like supposedly some of them are afraid of drag queens, or they think drag is like appropriating them or some bullshit, where it's like, you guys are all appropriating femininity. Like, it doesn't matter like what you call yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you could be a drag queen, and you could be you know, trans. I don't want to call them trans women. You could be a man that thinks you're a woman. Doesn't matter to me.
Sorry. I just want to make sure I wasn't muted.
Yeah, I didn't mute you. I don't even know really how to do that.
It was just my phone. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but with increasingly like critical eye towards drag, like now when I look at it, I get kind of upset. And I used to be able to watch it all the time.
No, I never did.
And not think about it.
I would heckle them. I go to pubs and heckle them. I was just a bitch. Like what?
Witchy, I wanted to say I love the name of your second channel, by the way, the Fireside Chats, little FDR nod.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I just like that because I know I was just talking about like the Red Scare and like.
Yeah, we were talking about Roosevelt. Yep.
Oh, okay.
No. Yeah, the Red Scare.
Yeah, I'm thinking
the Red Scare
about it. That's what it reminds me of too. Yeah, and then everyone's so scared of like Marxism and communism too at the same time. I mean, in
America, we have to make that caveat.
Sorry, in the USA, in the USA, yeah, they're scared of socialism too. Like,
yeah.
As a non-American, I don't get the reference. Can you explain, please?
Oh yeah, so in the 1950s, in the United States, there was wasn't he a senator? John McCarthy or Joe McCarthy?
Yeah, I know
or
that,
or was he worked? Anyways, he basically did this big, witch hunt for like communist and socialist and anybody associated with Marxism. He went after a bunch of celebrities, like Lucille Ball, like was kind of involved. And yeah, a lot of like communists like were like people who were even just associated with communism or something like that were like arrested, exiled, like I don't know like what the kind of like, but it was called the Red Scare because the color red is associated with like communism. So I like that's the gist of it. I don't remember all the details about it because it's been a while. I'm like reading about it again right now. If I was still in high school, I probably could have given a lot more detail, but I'm a little rusty. But that's basically the gist of it. Yeah.
No, she's referring to the title of the podcast, I think. Not podcast, sorry, YouTube channel, whatever this is.
Oh, sorry. Well, that was the Red Scare, but FDR was right before that. The New Deal was right before that, right?
Yeah, from 33 to 44, the Fireside Chats were a series of radio programs that FDR would host.
Okay.
For World War II, to like make people feel better, right? Kinda,
yeah.
And it was also to like humanize him, make him like the people's president. Like, well, that was like kind of the angle of it. But they were kind of sweet and endearing. Like a lot of people like really valued them. So,
Okay.
oh, and he would sit in front of a fireplace. Like that's why they were called the firefight. It was like a telecast of him or something, or on the radio too.
It was on the radio. I don't think it was on TV because I don't think TVs were in every home yet. No.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I well, there were some TVs in some people's homes.
Like very rich people's homes, yeah.
Yeah, but there's videos of him doing it though, like in front of the fire, aren't there? Like
I think there are pictures. I don't know.
Oh,
I haven't seen the videos. That's okay.
Yeah.
So actually, within like about the next 20 minutes, I think. So it's 10:37 now. So at 11 my time, I'm gonna probably wrap this up. But what were you gonna say, Ash?
Oh, where's Mancheese? Was there supposed to be like a live stream with her today, or?
I thought so. I don't know. Like I'm not in touch with her other than when we do those. So I don't know.
Well, I'm glad. Is that why you did this, or
yes?
Oh, I'm so glad that we all, like, so many of us came. Anyway.
Yeah, it's heartening that so many people have subscribed to this alternate channel. I know it's a pain in the butt.
No, we're used to it. You know, channels get kicked off, and we follow wherever we have to go to survive. Sorry, that was inarticulately said, but
no, you're right.
That's cool. But anyway, I hope that nothing happened to her, like she got run over or, you know, someone bursted into her apartment or anything like that. That would be fucked. But you were saying earlier on, I think it might have been Leah, that it might be that she just completely forgot the days.
Mm-hmm.
It's that Sunday over there and not Saturday over there and not Sunday. But
it's Monday. It's Monday morning here.
Yeah, Monday morning here too. I mean,
yeah.
You're 10:30. We're 11:30.
Yeah.
Or 11:39, whatever. So we're only an hour difference.
That's right.
Before we end, I was gonna say, Witchy, were you talking about the desire to try to get some of us to meet in real life who can do that, who are close enough?
Yeah.
I would love to do that. Can I shoot you an email or something about that? Or
sure, I'll put it in the secret chat.
Oh, I don't have the secret chat.
The secret chat.
Oh, you don't have the secret chat. I don't know how to give it to. I'm not going to put it in the top chat.
I'll put my email in the top chat, and then can you email me?
Yeah, I can email you.
The group chat.
Yeah, the group chat.
On the phone?
Secret chat.
You can also sign up on Gender Hammer, Ash. You can do private messages there, which is there too, so you don't have to be so public.
Yeah, I'm on there as my regular name, so I'm easy to find.
Gender
Although
Hammer?
but I also prefer email, so hopefully we can set that up somehow.
I'm just gonna. I don't care. Like, I'm just gonna send it to you in the top chat.
Okay. If you can, yeah. Yeah, I really want to do community building, face to face, on the East Coast particularly. I think that's where I'll end up. I wish I don't know. I want to go to lots of places. I wish I could just teleport, but we can't do that because even though they can make robots to have sex with, they can't figure out teleportation. So cool. Good job, dudes.
Right.
Like, geez, like this technology, I don't even find it like all that useful. The new technology that keeps being made, and AI scares the crap out of me. I'll just say that too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, AI is just awful because it's basically they're programming like a really basic version of human logic that like they think it's so genius because they can like get a machine, but it's still like the human made algorithm. Like, I mean, it's
The dude bro
Do you
made
think you can
algorithm.
program empathy?
no, because they don't seem to be able to empathize very well with other people. Otherwise, they might not be doing stuff like this.
Right.
I mean, it's they don't seem to have like actual formal thinking skills. I mean, it's kind of terrifying. Like, I don't really get it. Like, and yeah, just there's the human spark, as they say in the psych world. At least when I was studying psychology in college, like there's innovation and creativity in human beings, and that's kind of hard to like program. You know, I don't understand how that.
How can you be against humanity like that? Sorry to interrupt you here. I'm waiting for. Nanjel says, "I hope AI ends humans and reboots Earth." This is exactly the kind of mentality that I'm fighting against. I'm sorry, like, no.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
It's like, I think people kind of like blame we always want to like, why did we do this? Like blaming the whole species. And it's like, actually, it's more like we have like the wrong people like in power. We're doing the wrong system. We could be doing a better job. We don't need to destroy ourselves. That's ridiculous. Like, I mean, like that's kind of why I'm against transhumanism and AI. And like, I feel like it's destructive. Like, I don't know, just to like add on to what you said, Witchy.
They know it's destructive.
Maybe this is a
Elon Musk
conversation
literally compares it to summoning a demon. Like, I can't. This is bad news. It's bad news. Sorry. I'm really passionate about AI, I guess.
I'm not that worried
I don't
about
wanna
it.
open
I
up,
just
like,
don't think they can really pull it off, to be honest.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
They're just overestimating themselves like the bros always do.
That's
Love
right.
it. I love that.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah. I'm really not good at this.
I think, yeah, I can see that too. Like, they're overestimating themselves, and it does make me feel a lot better about it. Thanks.
Yeah.
That helps. Like,
they're trying to drum up money. That's what all they're trying to do. They're just trying to drum up money. Everything leads to money.
Yeah.
I did a little research on transhumanism, and like I don't understand. Are people literally saying like we're gonna be able to upload our consciousnesses to the internet?
Yeah.
Or a
but
machine.
Is this is like people believing that they can change sexes? Like this is just like a fantasy.
Yes.
Sort of
Yeah,
thing.
of course it is.
Okay.
That Martin Rothblatt, he's leading the charge in that, because he's designed the robot in the image of his wife, and he thinks he can put her thoughts, her brain basically, into the robot.
Martin Rothblatt.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's and plus you've got the Chinese people that are doing it as well. But Martin's at the forefront.
And this is all because men, like, really, they've never gotten over the fact that they can't create life.
Right.
That's what I think, you know.
They're just trying to do something. They're just trying to one-up women, basically, all the time.
All the time. Constantly.
I have a personal problem with that. Like, another thing I have a problem with that is that, like, pregnancy is like so risky and scary in some ways. It's like, you know, sometimes I'm like, oh, like I would feel safer if I like couldn't get pregnant. Like, you know what I mean? Like I mean, I appreciate what women, you know, that about life, you know, I appreciate like that's, you know, but on the other hand, like just it's also like a really big deal physically speaking. So like the fact that they like envy it so much seems to show a disrespect for like what women have to go through to bear children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because they don't know, and they never will know because they're not women. Even women who are not going to have a baby don't know exactly what goes on because we haven't experienced it.
Yeah.
I'm
You know?
wondering if, yeah, I'm wondering if trans identified males, like if they would ever hook themselves up to those machines that mimic contractions that are really painful. You know,
They
like
tried that. They tried that. I saw some parody of it. It might have been on YouTube or on TV or something. I can't remember. But they tried. It might have been in a show even. But they tried, putting a guy through pain to show him what it's like to be pregnant and go through the.
I'm wondering. I'm wondering though specifically, like women identify, like men who identify as women, like would they do that to feel more like a woman? You know what I mean?
Wait,
Yeah,
would they do what?
And even that's not going to be the half of it anyway, because I mean, the cramps are one thing, but what about the actual act of giving birth and physically the, opening and the
Yeah, a
vaginal
baby
canal
coming through a birth canal, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And you have and then there's the memory of that for the rest of your life. I mean, that can have a lot of deep changes, it seems like a profound thing to go through. Like physically, mentally, emotionally, like it's not, I mean, even if you try to simulate it for a man, like it's still, it's not the same as actually living.
It's not the same. Yeah, it's stimulation.
Yeah.
It's not the same. You can never reproduce something that is the same ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, a talk before I leave Australia on rejecting motherhood. And one of the things that I'm planning on raising, because the point of this talk is to get everyone else in the room talking. It's sort of more of a facilitator than a speech. But one of the things I wanted to bring up with everyone is the natural fear of pregnancy and giving birth. It's something that we're not even allowed to talk about half the time. We're all meant to be like, oh, yes, I'd like to have children one day, and to suppress what that actually means and how much fear is attached to it.
Mm.
Wow, I love this.
Yeah.
We really, don't get to talk about that. And I think if we were able to talk about it, there would be less stigma when you decide to not have a baby.
Yeah, because you're right. Because it's not talked about at all ever.
Because it is frightening. And also, I don't really want to. I mean, I hate doing the normal stuff that my body does. I don't like even experiencing that. I don't really want to experience being pregnant. I've never had that desire, actually. But also, there is a fear there of like the changes my body will go through, etc. Yeah, MD.
And you're bringing another person into the world who's going to need nurture and guidance and to be educated. I mean, I know people tend to care more about that than they do about women's bodies. So I think I don't want to go too far astray from this, but like, there's still as like having the ability to create life, like, I can only imagine like what it's like to actually do that. And it's like, seems so just, sorry, my head feels a little blown right now, like I'm kind of spinning in that existential way, like thinking about it, just like, oh wow. But yeah, I mean it's I don't know, like I've met women who seem just so nonchalant about it. I mean, maybe I was just their acquaintance, so we didn't get to talk too deeply, but still, I mean, I felt like I witnessed a lot of nonchalance about pregnancy when I was growing up, where it was just kind of this casual thing, like, oh yeah, you get pregnant and then congratulations, and then, but it was always much deeper than that. Like there's much fear, as we were originally talking about. Yeah.
Nana has just said that isn't that called tocophobia? And I'm not sure if that's the correct name or not, because I haven't. The fact that it's been medicalized you know, a fear of a huge process that can actually kill you, and it can, has been medicalized as a phobia. Is that, to me, is so offensive, and I have come across this before. But I find it offensive that that should be considered normal has been medicalized because it only affects women.
I mean, that's how I kind of feel about gender dysphoria too, where children who are going through some sort of you know, questioning where their place is in the world or whatever, has totally been pathologized. And yeah, tocophobia is what you're talking about. It's a pathological fear of pregnancy and can lead to avoidance of childbirth. I think that's bullshit. I think it is natural to fear.
Yeah, I think it's a rational fear. It's a rational fear.
It's rational, yes.
Yeah, because there are actual health complications that can come out of pregnancy. Like, that's totally rational. Sorry.
It harks on back to the idea that the woman to be is barefoot and pregnant at home, and that every woman should naturally want to have children. And it recognises the humanity of caring about yourself, your body, your life, your goals, everything about being human. And all of that is erased in favour of a role.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Wow, I love this topic. This is what happens when we have when we get how long have we been doing this? Like 2 hours or something?
Yeah.
The conversation always gets so much, and more people come in, so it's a little scary when you're by yourself or just one-on-one.
Yeah,
it is.
Strange if you try it on normies.
What's that?
People look at you strange when you try that stuff on normies.
When you try what stuff?
If you talk that kind of talk just to random people, they will tendentially look at you strange.
What about being pregnant?
Yeah, like what we are talking right now about,
Yeah, because people are afraid to talk about stuff that's actually really close to a lot of people's hearts, really close to their actual thinking. There's a lot of people that go around that are not true to themselves. A lot of folks that go around that are basically fake. They're fake. They can't be honest with themselves, let alone anybody else. What's the word? Superficial. They're superficial. They've been superficial for so long, they don't know what it's like to be real. You know? They're too scared to be real just in case someone doesn't like them. Well, I get that every day because I'm loud and I'm boisterous and I'm, say what I think. And people run away from me because I'm like that. It's like, well, okay, but I'm not going to be superficial. I can't stand being superficial because that's not me. I can't pretend all the time to be something I'm not.
I'm that way too, Painted Black. I detest small talk. I just like to jump into the things that are worth talking about.
Thanks, Ash. I appreciate that. It's like it's more hard work to be pretentious and small talk than what it is to be real.
It's also more interesting to be real.
Right.
But I think a lot of people just live their lives by the rules of society. I don't think
definitely
they're necessarily choosing to be cowards, but I mean, we are radical feminists. We are a fringe proportion of society. It's just gonna be alien to people if you talk that stuff. I didn't mean it in an denigrating way when I said they look at you strange.
Yeah.
I used the word normies, which is a bit strange, but I know what you mean too with some people painted black. They just they don't want their facade taken off. They just want to pretend everything is hunky-dory.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. I agree with you. I do agree with you.
Normies.
Hey, I got knocked off for a second. Like my connection messed up. We're talking about normies or
Yeah, we're talking
people?
about normies and how difficult it is, and how Ash was saying like she would rather have real conversations with people, and so is Painted Black, and just
Yeah.
small talk and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's less engaging. Yeah, I guess you're right, but I think that's probably why when I talk to people, there's a time and a place for these kinds of conversations. And you can become friends with somebody and maybe slowly start talking about your politics. But I'm not the type to do that at a party, or unless it comes up, which it does sometimes, and I'll say how I feel about it. But you're right. Most people are just out there trying to survive in our capitalistic nightmare.
Yeah, I don't actually have that many bad experiences, but they just look at me in bewilderment when I talk about my radical feminist worldview. But they do pick bits of it up, I have to say.
Yeah,
Just,
they get it.
Yeah, it's hard for some people because it's like a security blanket, isn't it?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and people get really mad at you when you disagree. I mean, I lost so many friends, or I've just kind of like, had people not want to be around just because just because I like, trans women or men, like just for, pointing out stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, I agree
it's
with
like,
you. I've lost heaps too, and for me, I just think, oh well, you haven't taken the time to fully understand what I'm trying to say, and in that regard, I think, well, bugger you, piss off then. I've stood here, or I've sat here, or I've engaged you over years in you saying to me about what you think about things, how you feel about things, and I haven't piped up and said no, that's wrong, or I've just gone, well, I've either agreed or agreed to disagree. The moment I want to put my point across about what I feel strongly about, it's like, oh, you're fucked. Like, well, no,
I
I'm
think
not.
that's the price you pay for having integrity.
Yeah.
Sometimes character doesn't come without sacrifice. So sometimes for me, if I lose a friend or lose company, or I'm experiencing these same struggles that I hear you all experience for vocalizing my beliefs, I just like sit with that feeling of self-love and self-respect. Like, not everybody has that level of integrity, and that helps me cope with it.
Right.
and I mean, you don't want to hang out with people you can't be honest with. I mean, that's kind of how I am.
That's true. Even if someone disagrees with your opinion, I have friends where we disagree on certain topics, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We respect that, and it doesn't have to be the end of everything. And people are so dramatic these days. I don't know. So I'm gonna wrap it up because it's 11 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm getting a little hungry.
Okay.
I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. I was all ready for this other live stream. I ate breakfast like super early, so I'm already getting hungry again.
Well, thanks so much,
thank
yeah, I love these. They're so much fun to talk and to share. And I want to do them more regularly, maybe on my Fridays, but I want to have specific topics too, because that way you can title the live stream with specific topics, and it's easier to sort of catalog everything.
Yeah.
But this was a great sort of open chat, and I will put maybe some of the main topics. We talked about prostitution. We talked about medical misogyny, which is a great topic. I think we can revisit. We talked about makeup, political lesbianism. We've talked about a lot. AI even. So thank you everyone for joining. And does anyone have any last? Yeah, does anyone have any last words.
Any last words?
Last words before I cut you off. Bye.
May I just say one thing about the Aussie Radfems channel before you go while everyone's here? Aussie Radfems is making playlists, and the point of it is to promote Radfem videos across YouTube. And so what's needed is specific videos, playlists, not just channels, because, you know, it takes a long time to watch each video and know what it's about. Whereas if somebody else has watched it already and knows what it's about, they can say, hey, this one's great for gender critical, great for, you know, rejecting motherhood or something like that. So if people want to go over there and recommend specific videos, just throw in the comments. That'd be great.
Okay.
Right.
I have something which, if you, I don't know if you can, if you can't, it's not a biggie. If you can announce your live stream a little bit in advance.
I usually, yeah, you're right. That's true. I'm the worst. I'm really a spur of the moment person, but I understand the need for scheduling. And, you know, the reason this one wasn't announced, right? Because this is sort of like, where's Banshees? But yeah, I will definitely try to do that within like a day, hopefully like at least half a day before. I'm like, yeah, I'm a scatterbrain.
I found myself, unfortunately, always when you did it, shit, I got to leave the house in 15 minutes.
Yeah. So I'll try to be better at scheduling them. And, you know, sometimes I'll say that I'll do one and I get too tired and then I won't, and I don't do it. So
Spontaneity is good.
I'll try really hard though, because I think it helps people find it. And
never mind, it's just a suggestion.
No, it doesn't even stress me out. It's more like, am I actually capable of doing it?
I can relate.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst.
Gotta try it before you buy it.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'll try to do that. And thank you everyone for joining. I'm going to stop the broadcast, but if you have anything to say privately to me, you can stick around for like another 5 minutes. But yeah. So bye everybody on the top chat. Bye.
Bye. Bye.